So welcome everybody. It is September 25th, 2024. This is Yoel Cortex, Senior Librarian at Ex Libris. And today we are discussing the local extensions which we're using for the ability to have separate member institutions of a network zone consortia have their own local fields which are not influenced by the rest of the institutions, the rest of the member institutions. I will share the screen and we will start getting into this. Okay, so two things. First of all, why do we want to use the local extensions? And secondly, what is the environment in which we're using? So we have a setup here where there are three member institutions. In our case, we see here on the bottom, we have Alma University, Open University, and University of Knowledge, and they're all part of our network zone consortia. That's the general setup we've got. Then we have a situation where certain member institutions are sharing records with other member institutions, but want those bibliographic records to be slightly different. For example, they may want to add a local subject, a local call number, other 900 fields which they're using for various reasons, and they don't want the other institutions to be influenced by those additional fields. This, in many ways, is the opposite of what we showed last time. I'm going to go back. Perhaps some of you remember the last session of the ALMA Network Zone Consortia webinar series, which was on July 31st. We talked about how to restrict editing bibliographic fields by member institutions. We showed that it's possible for the Network Zone Consortia to say nobody can edit, for example, the 020, the 022, the ISBN, ISSN, or the 035. And now we're saying you can edit them, you can edit the records. However, what you do will only be seen by you. Let's get right into it and it will start to become a little more clear. So we have several records here that we want to use as examples. We're going to focus on University of Knowledge and Open University. We're going to start with University of Knowledge. We've got A Pair of Blue Eyes, Double Room, Seemed Like a Dream, and The Triumph of Art, Love in Copenhagen. So let's go in and see the same records in both University of Knowledge and Open University, and then make the changes with the local extensions and see where we see how the changes are and are not reflected by the different institutions. We're going to look both in ALMA and in Primo. So here I'm logged in to University of Knowledge. Just some background of how we're going to do this. We have all of the records here. We have two browsers open. We're logged into University of Knowledge as our staff user, Alicia. And in another browser, which happens to be Chrome, we're logged in as Yulia to Open University. So we have Yulia in the Open University. We have Alicia at University of Knowledge. And we're going to start with our first record, A Pair of Blue Eyes. So this record right now, we're going to see in a moment, does not have any local extensions, looks like any other record. I happen to be looking at it in the new all title search, but anywhere you would look at it, it would be the same. And if we scroll down here to bibliographic record, looks like a normal record. We don't see anything out of the ordinary. Now we're going to go edit record. And now we're going to add a local extension. We can add the local extension either from the menu, like most things in ALMA, either from the menu or via the Control L, the shortcut key. In a moment, we're going to add it. When we add the local extension, we're going to see that it gets a little icon next to it of a house, meaning it's local. So let's say, what is this? A Pair of Blue Eyes. So let's say we want to put a local call number in here, a 093 local call number. So we can either do the Control L, Or you can see here, add local extension. Editing actions, add local extension. And now we see already that a new field opened. I'll make this a little larger for everybody. A new field opened. It's got a icon next to it of a house, meaning it's a local extension. I'll give it a field. In this case, I'm going to give it a 093. Now, why institutions are using these local fields, we're going to leave that on the side, because one could say, well, they don't need to use a local field. They could do whatever. The fact is that institutions want to use local fields. They want to have some kind of characteristic which makes the record be unique to their institution. So I'll put one in here. Let's say MT45 is my local call number. And I'm going to save that. So I'm going to write this one down on the side so that we can see exactly what we're doing, because in a moment we're going to see how this is reflected in the different places in Alma and Primo, the different Primo views, how it's viewed from the different member institutions. So here we're going to say we added a 093 with MT45. Okay, let's now go to Open University. Let's take the first one here, Sitting on the Bench by John Cabot-Zinn. So now here we are in Open University, and let's take Sitting on the Bench. And here we're going to add something which will be unique to Open University, because that's where we are now. So we'll say Edit Record again. Well, first we'll look here. We see nothing out of the ordinary, as you can see. Regular standard record. Edit record. In this time, let's add, for example, a local subject. And we'll scroll down to the subjects. Let's say Control L, or editing actions, add local extension. Let's put in this a 690. What's our record here? Sitting on the bench, we'll say sitting on the bench in the rain. Okay, so now we have a local subject here. We'll save this one. Note again, we see that icon there. I'll make this a little larger so everyone can see. But we see that icon there of a house right here. And we've got our local subject. So let's say here, so we can keep track of everything later. Of course, this is not a necessary part. You don't need to keep track on the side of what you've got going on. And now let's take a record and add several local fields, or local extensions. They're local extensions, not local fields. So let's go back to University of Knowledge. We're going to take double room. So double room. We're just going to do two more examples. We'll do one more here at University of Knowledge, another one at Open University, and then we'll go see what happens with these in the various stages within Alma and within Primo. So this is the double room, and let's say we'll add a 900 here. We'll add a couple of 900 fields. And we'll say, again, Control L, or add local extension. We'll give this a 900. And let's say this will be hotel management. Maybe they're using this, for example, as for a course, and that's the name of the course. Now we'll add another one. Control L. Now we'll add a 901, and we'll add another one here. Vacationing. Vacationing and conferences. Maybe that's one of the readings they've got to do. In any case, like we said, we're not going to talk about why exactly someone might be using this, but the fact is people want to have these local fields. I don't know if I spelled that properly. And I can imagine we're going to go search for that later and not find it. So let's spell it properly. Maybe that's not even a word. Okay, we'll leave it there anyway. And let's add one more. Control L again. 902. The Mermaid. Okay. So now we've got 3 fields here. So this is called double room. We'll save that. And let's say here that we've added 903, the mermaid, and we added 902 with hotel management, I believe it was. 901, vacationing and conferences. And we also added a 900 with hotel management. Now, I know I could have had all these examples ready and then just gone right into the session, but I want to show how we're adding them, that we can add one, that we can add multiple, etc. One more example we're going to add, and then we're going to start looking at how it works. So we got a boat ride, and I had a great time. Let's say a boat ride. Now we're going to go back to Open University. Yulia at Open University. She searches for a boat ride. And again, we're going to add multiple fields here. So let's say edit record. Let's put in a 900 field here. Let's say a Control L, same as editing actions, add local extension. We'll use a 900. And let's say this is Tivoli, and this is Control L again, 901, and this will be the boat ride in the lake. Okay. So now we've got 2 fields here. We'll put those down and let's see what's happening. Here. So we've got a 900 that says Tivoli, and we've got a 901 which says the boat ride in the lake. Okay, we have more examples here ready to use, but it's enough. We have 2 bibliographic records, 1 in each member institution, and some of them have multiple local fields, like a boat ride has 2 local fields. Sitting on the bench has 1 local extension. Double room has 3 local fields, local extensions, and a pair of blue eyes has 1. Now let's see. Let's focus on the University of Knowledge records first. If someone comes now and looks at a pair of blue eyes from University of Knowledge, I'm going to release everything from both metadata editors, both in Open University and in University of Knowledge. Now we're getting into how does it actually work. We showed now how we can add the fields. Now we're going to focus on how is this reflected throughout Alma, etc. By the way, Maud, my colleague here, Maud from product management is monitoring the chat. Maud, do we have anything in the chat? If anyone has any questions or comments, this is a good time because now we're going to get into how is all this reflected. I don't see anything in the chat. Anybody in the chat? Anybody have questions or comments? Feel free to send them in. Maud, no questions?
No question yet.
Okay, great. Not great that there's no questions. Great that we're in sync. Okay. So if I look for this record now, A Pair of Blue Eyes, a novel, I see here also in the bibliographic record section of the alt title search a indicator that this is that there's a local field here. It's got that little house next to MT45, just a random 093. MT45, it's got that house next to it. If we were to go into Open University and search for that same record, now this is a shared record. It's shared with the network zone. I'm going to go back here just for a moment. You see the icon here. It's in the network zone. University of Knowledge sees it like this. Open University, I'm now Yulia at Open University, does the same search. And also, let me make this a little smaller, goes into the bibliographic record section. There is no 093 here. It's the same bibliographics record, same MMS ID, You can see here at Open University that it's held by University of Knowledge, same exact record. However, we don't see here any indication that University of Knowledge has that field. This is like the main part of what we're showing now. One institution, I'm going to flip back my browser to University of Knowledge. University of Knowledge sees that 093 with the MT45. Open University does not see it. Let's go on. Then we've got Double Room. Double Room has multiple local extensions, also in University of Knowledge. If someone comes to this Double Room, I'm at University of Knowledge as Alicia, Double Room, and someone comes here, bibliographic record, scrolls down. We've got 3 local fields: hotel management, vacationing and conferences, the Mermaid. We've got the 3 icons here that they are local fields, local extensions, excuse me. We're going to look at the same record now at Open University. And here we see the record. This is the record. It's held by University of Knowledge. We go in a little deeper here to the bibliographic record section, scroll down. There is no 900, 901, 902. So we saw in sum, we're going to look at the other side, then we're going to start with Primo. We saw in sum that the local extensions are added in one institution, visible in one institution, not only in the metadata editor, but also in the search, and soon we'll see in Primo also. When you go to another member institution, you don't see it. Let's go on now. So Open University, we have sitting on the bench. This is the one we did edit in Open University. Sitting on the bench, and we'll go to the bibliographic record section, and there it is, sitting on the bench in the rain, 690 field, with a clear indicator that that is a local extension. If we go look at this now in University of Knowledge, sitting on the bench. Oh, I got the wrong thing in my mouse, sitting on the bench. And bibliographic record, we do not have that 690 sitting on the bench in the rain. There is no 690 here. Here at Open University, we do have the 690 sitting on the bench in the rain. Between social sciences and Springer Link, here between social sciences and Springer Link, we have nothing. One more example, and I think that will be clear enough, even though we have several others. We got It Seemed Like a Dream, we got Triumph of Art, Love in Copenhagen, but we're not going to use I Had a Great Time. Suffice these 2. So we just looked at sitting on the bench. Let's go take a look at A Boat Ride and Other Stories. Open University, this is where we made the change in Open Universities. Okay, and bibliographic records, scroll down a bit. Here we are, a 900 and a 901, Tivoli, The Boat Ride in the Lake. Where if we take the same record, I think you get the point now, take the same record, what was it, Boat Ride? Boat Ride and Other Stories. Here it is, bibliographic records, scroll down to the bottom, nothing. We don't see them. Now, what's happening behind the scenes before we go to Primo? Let's take these, oops, sorry, I stopped the share, I believe. What's happening now behind the scenes? And then we'll go to Primo. But for those who have a technical inclination, wondering how is this happening, what's happening behind the scenes? I'm going to take these 2 records here that we updated now in University of Knowledge. Let's do a search. So we searched for all titles Boat Ride. Let's even make a set. We'll say admin, manage sets, because I want to export them and show what happened. So we'll say create itemized set. I'm at University of Knowledge. I'm just looking at my examples here. So University of Knowledge, we used, okay, this will be local extensions set create. So we used a pair of blue eyes. We'll add that to the set. Make sure that's the one. Yep, I see it there. And add to set. And let's also take the second example we used, double room. This one has multiple local extensions. University of Knowledge, double room. There it is. Okay. And again, add selected. This is the one with multiple local fields. Done. Now let's publish that set. I see somebody asked a question. I'm going to send this to a file, and then while it's working, we'll get to the question. So we conserve our time. I'm going to send that out to a mark file so we can see behind the scenes what happened to the bibliographic record when we added those local extensions. So we'll say run a job, and we'll go to the export. We'll say export bibliographic records next. Here's my set, next. I'll send it out to a mark XML simply because it's easier to see the fields there, next, and submit. Okay, let's go to the chat now while that's running. And let me take this question here, and perhaps we'll all read it together. I'm going to copy this to my mouse. Okay, I'm not taking anyone's name, so everything is anonymous. And let's see. Okay, what if you want to make an existing field local? Very nice question. And that will actually be related to what we're showing, what we're about to show. You can't say convert this to local. And by the way, only certain fields can be local. I should have pointed that out before if I didn't. These are the fields which can be local. 7x, 77x, 78x, 09x, 5x, 59x, 69x, and 9xx. These are the fields which can. But if you have, for example, a 690 now, like I had a 690, I believe, sitting on the bench in the rain, and you say, I want to make that a local extension, there's no convert to local extension. If you're exporting and importing records, or if you have an import profile in your importing records, we're going to see in a moment how you can do it on the input file. But there is no convert field to local extension. You would need to copy and paste in that case, or retype it. Let me see if there's anything else. Okay, that looks like the same question here. What if you want to make an existing field local? And then I don't see any other questions. Okay, let's go on. So now we're going to go look at that output file. And when we look at the output file, we'll be able to see what happened to that record in the background. So let's go in there. And let me get this thing smaller here. Okay. When I say this thing, I've got the screen of the WebEx on top. Okay, so let's go take a look at this now. History. It's done. Report. We'll download the file. Oops, not delete, download. Okay, let's show this in folder and open a Notepad++. Okay, and we'll give it a pretty print, which is a XML tool, Control-Alt-Shift-B. Okay, so what happened? We had a 093, 690s, 900s, etc. So anytime a field becomes local, or a local extension, it gets a subfield 9 with the word local. So here we are. So these, for example, got added. And because we said add local extension, instead of just add field, we said add local extension, it got this subfield 9 with the local. So that also means, by the way, and maybe we'll have time to play around with that, that if I use an import profile, I can, in an input file of MARC records, I can have the subfield 9 local in the bibliographic record that I'm importing, and it will become a local extension. And we'll see that soon. Time permitting. Here also, let's see our other local field. This is a pair of blue eyes. Let's go see. What did we add for a pair of blue eyes? That's why we kept everything here. We added a 093 with MT45. So here, there it is. And we've got this local subfield with the MT45. Okay, let's now shift the focus to Primo, because what we've seen now is the staff user of Alma, what they're doing, and now we want to see what's going on in Primo.
Joel?
Yes.
There's one more question on Alma's side before we jump to Primo.
Okay, great. Let's go take a look at the chat and see what we got there. I'm scrolling down here. Hold on a minute. Scrolling down. I'm trying to keep this anonymous. You don't see that I'm looking at the attendees in the chat right now, correct, Maud?
No, we
Okay.
don't see it.
Okay, so that means anyone can ask anything they want, by the way, and no one will know it's you, so you don't have to feel inhibited. All right, so it says, so if we want the 050 to be local, then we need to convert it to 090. That's correct. Or to put that in a different way, I would say the fact is you can't have a 050 local. Let's take a look and play around with that. We'll pretend we have a field which is a 050. We want to make it a local field, a local extension to be more exact. These are local extensions. So let's take our next example here. Let's take the Triumph of Art, Love in Copenhagen. And this is also in University of Knowledge. So University of Knowledge. Okay. And we'll pretend that same situation. I see two people asked it already, so I sense that there is some type of need for this. So someone wants that 050, which we already have, to be a local extension, something that will not be reflected in the repository search of Alma in other member institutions, and also will not be reflected, we'll see soon, in the end user search in one of the views of Primo. So if I were to say here, there's nothing here that says convert that field to a local extension. And if I say add local extension and I say a 050, it doesn't let me. I'm going to do that again so everyone can see what happened. If I say, I'm going to do this slowly, add local extension. If I start typing 050 or anything that is not one of the allowed fields, 05, watch what's going to happen. That house disappeared. So I can't make a 050 a local extension. However, if I want to make a 090 a local extension, I would say add local extension 090. And now I could put this in here. If I take this one, this would be interesting. I'm trying to debug the system. What happens if something I previously, now once you put in a field that is not one of the allowed local extensions, you can't. I tried to change it retroactively to a 690. It's still not making a local extension. So I'm going to come and say, add local extension. This time I'll make it a 690. And okay, we're just going to add anything in here. So now this time when I put in the 690, we're doing for comparative purposes. We have this 690 does have the sign here that it's a local extension. This one does not. Let's get rid of these two fields here. Control F6, and they're gone. Okay. Let's save this, and while we're at it, we've got more examples here that we can use in Primo, so we're going to put down on the side here what we've got. So we put in we have a 090 now with N1925, etc. So this is the triumph of art, love in Copenhagen, and we will say here that we've got the 090 with that, and we have the 690 with the scarf and botanical gardens. Okay. So now we've got another example. All right, so that should have answered the questions we just had about the converting an existing field to a local extension. You can't convert an existing field to a local extension. You would need to create a local extension and copy it there. And the person who asked about making your 050 a local extension, a 050 cannot be a local extension. It's only the specific fields which we've specified right here. We saw that when I tried to make my 050 a local extension, it simply removed the house that was next to it, and therefore we couldn't do anything with it. Okay. Now we're moving over to Primo.
There's one last question.
Sure. Ask all the questions you'd like, but after this one, we will get moving
yeah.
anyway. So
So
let me head into the chat here. Okay. So I'm gonna again put this into the Word document so we can all read it together anonymously. This has been done individually. Is there a way we could have a batch process? Let's say add a local field 690 to a list of specified MARC records. Yes, there is. I wish I had 3 hours for this session. You can actually use a normalization rule to add local extensions by having that normalization rule add a subfield 9. In fact, let's do that, and then we really are going to go to Primo. So the question here is there a way to have a batch process to add a local 690 field to a list of specified MARC records? Let's do very quickly. We're going to make a normalization rule which will add 690 fields. So I'm going to take any rule here, and I'm just going to change it around here. Okay, I'm going to take this one here. This is my normalization rule. I'm going to duplicate this one, and I'm going to say this is going to be called add a 690 local extension. And we'll do it here also. Save. So we can say, let's even take one a little more advanced. We'll say here, I know where there's, oh, this is a nice one. They're all nice ones, but we'll take this one anyway. And I'll take this. Okay, back to ours, 690. Add 690 local extension. Again, add 690 local extension. Okay. Save. Okay, so I'm going to say, I just used that other one as a template. I just added it with my copy paste. So I'm going to say here, add 690 with a local extension. Then I'm going to say when true, we're not going to make all kinds of conditions here because we just want to show something basic. 690, add field 690A on the bench with an umbrella in the rain. Now we want to add that subfield 9 that we saw when we exported it. That's what makes it a local extension. I'll put here local. So now we're adding the subfield 9 local. So you could make a set and then run a normalization rule which does something similar to this. It would be a 699 local. Now we need to say if exists 690A on the bench in the rain. Okay, we're getting a little more involved here, but we said ask the questions, so that's what we're doing. We will say here ALMA normalization rules. You can see also here how to go about making a normalization rule. So I'm just going to take all these examples. We want to add that 690 subfield A 9 with the local only to a specific one. So we're going to say if exists, and where am I here? Okay, here we'll do it. Here we are. That's what we want. So we'll say here, we're going to add that subfield A, subfield 9, if exists, 690 A on the bench. Okay. I'm taking a real risk here. I'm making this on the spot, but we'll hope it works. Okay. So now we have a normalization rule to add a 690A and then with a subfield 9 local. And we saw already when we exported the record that that's what makes it a local extension, having that subfield 9 with the word local. So now if I have a bibliographic record here, let's get my bibliographic records back. We have the Triumph of Art and the Museum Love in Copenhagen. This now has a 690, the Scarf in the Botanical Gardens. I'm going to go to split editor mode, test that normalization rule, go to rules, go to normalization, go get that rule, which we have now. Here it is, add 690 local extension, do a preview. And it added it here. You can see it right here. Apply changes. If that were run on a whole set, beautiful. Look at that. Here it is. It got added. Isn't that nice? On the spot, we made it. So we made a normalization rule to add a field as a local extension. And the way we did it is by having this addition of subfield 9 local. I can do that on any record. Let's do it one more time. Then we're really going to Primo. Let's take It Seemed Like a Dream. I don't think we touched that one yet. It seemed like a dream. So we've got It Seemed Like a Dream here. We'll go to the metadata editor. It does not have a 690 at all. It has no local record, no local fields, local extensions. Split editor mode. And to the rules, here's my 690 rule. I'm going to say preview and apply. There it is, apply changes. And now we have the local extension. So back to the question and the answer on the spot. Is there a way we could have a batch process, let's say add a local 690 field to a list of specified MARC records? You can take that normalization rule, put it in a normalization process, create a set of all the records you want to change, run the normalization process on the set. Okay, Maud, we're moving on to Primo. I know the questions are important, but we do want to show Primo. So let's now we even have more examples because of that little test. So I'm back now as Alicia in the University of Knowledge. And so we added, and it seemed like a dream, we added on the bench with an umbrella in the rain on the 690. Oh, we did that on both of them, and the Triumph of et cetera, et cetera. Great. The triumph of whatever has, let's just leave it right here. So now I'm going to go to Primo. Let's start with the Primo of University of Knowledge. And a few things. There's so much to show in so little time. Because we can also search by all those fields. For example, the 690 on the bench with an umbrella in the rain. I'm going to get rid of these. So here, before we get into Primo, because I'm going to search in Primo, but I want to show the search here. Here, for example, I have local subjects. And if I search here for on the bench with an umbrella in the rain as a local subject, I find, oh, not yet. I will find it in a moment. I just put it in there and it's got a, let's take another example here. It's got to index a second. A pair of blue eyes has a MT45 in the 093, University of Knowledge. Am I in University of Knowledge? Yes, I am. So I'm going to take that 053, had MT45, either as one word or two words, I don't quite remember. There we go. So I was able to search for it with that local extension, 093, MT45. And the reason I find the MT45 is because I've got it right here. Let's say one of these 900s or local subjects, either one. And we'll see why I have these here in a moment, because that's going to relate to what we're showing in Primo V. I got to go see what my examples are instead of guessing. 900 has Tivoli. Let's take that one. Oh, that's Open University. Here we got a 690 with the scarf in the Botanical Gardens and 900 with the hotel management. Okay. So we'll say here, local field 900. There we go. Why are we able to search for these, first of all, here in Alma? Because under configuration, resources, we went to search indexes, and for each of those fields, for example, local subjects, we designated true and true here. True for the simple search, true for the advanced search. Same thing here if we look at the local field 900 where I just searched for hotel management or whatever it was. We made it true and true. Now, if I come into Primo, I'm in, let's take one of those examples here. Umbrella, University of Knowledge. Let's take a full example here. University of Knowledge. Okay, let's take a pair of blue eyes, which had an MT. We saw it space 45. So if I search here for MT45, I find the record. I'm able to search for that local extension, that 093. And when we view the record here, we see University of Knowledge call number. In the separate browser, I'm going to take an Open University example. So Open University, we have sitting on the bench by John Zabitkin. Now I'm still Yulia at Open University. Before I was Alicia at University of Knowledge. Here also, we're going to go to the Primo. First, I'm just going to search for the record by the title, which is nothing new that I'm able to search for it and find it, but I want to show the display of the fields and then searching by it. So here we have Open University subject sitting on the bench in the rain. So it's saying the name of the field and which institution it's from. And I'm only seeing it now at Open University. When I go to sitting on the bench here, I'm in the Open University. I see that local field, just like in Alma I saw it. However, now I just switched browsers. I know it's complicated, but I'm trying to stress where I am all the time. Now I'm at University of Knowledge, Primo. They did not add a local extension to this sitting in the rain. So here, when they view this record, sitting on the bench in the rain, interesting, this has the word sitting on the bench in the rain. Somewhere it does, but that's not our record. Let's come here. Here it is. So this one here, a boat ride and other stories. I'm at University of Knowledge. It's available in a different institution, and I don't see any indication here at University of Knowledge that it has that local extension. But if I take this same exact record and I look at it in the view for Open University, because it's an Open University record, here at University of Knowledge, I do not see anything pertaining to that local extension. But here I'm going to do the same search. And look at it here. And I do see the local fields. So I can search by the local fields in Primo, and I can display the local fields in Primo. Now I search here for Tivoli and boat. Tivoli is one of the local extensions. Tivoli is coming from here. The only place Tivoli appears here is in the local field 900. So it's finding the local field and it's displaying the local field. We saw that when I searched the network zone via University of Knowledge, who did not add one of these local extensions, we don't see the local extension. I can't search by it and I can't view it. I can search by the other fields that are there. So like we saw that in Alma, each member institution sees only the local extensions that they have. Uh, Same thing in Primo. Now, how did this happen in Primo? First, I'm going to stop for a minute. I don't want to get into a detailed how to configure Primo V for search and for display, but we will show how we got those local extensions to appear the way they are. I'm just going to pop over to the chat for a moment and see if there's any interesting chats here. Any questions, I should say. Any questions in the chats?
No question on that.
No questions. Okay, so let's see, how did I get those fields to be able to be displayed and searchable in Primo? And again, we're not having a how to configure your Primo V, but we will want to show within the context of those local extensions how it was done. And all of this is in the PowerPoint. The PowerPoint which I gave here, by the way, last 5 minutes, I want to point out where we can get all the materials. Explains how this was all done in Primo. It goes into all the configurations, and I don't want to say all, but it goes into the configurations of Primo and how they were added. So it's all there. Here's, for example, where we added the ability in Alma to do the searching by the local fields. And then here's in Primo how we do it. So let's do this. We're going to show what was configured. We're not going to add more. So under Discovery, we have Manage Display and Local Fields. And this isn't unique to the local extensions. If you have any field you want to display, you can do that. You can even use the Primo V normalization rules. That's one of the hottest topics around. So you can see here I added these local fields already, and I call them University of Knowledge call number, University of Knowledge subject, University of Knowledge 900, 901, 902. How did I do that? I said add field, add a local field, then we choose one of these local fields. I call it whatever I want. I will call it the 09, let's call it a 904, 903. We don't have a 903 yet. Then if we want to be able to search for that also, we check enable for search. We can also make it a facet, etc. That's why I was able to search in that last example for Tivoli, the boat ride Tivoli, because I added that in a 900 something and I made it enable for search, and then I added it as a local extension. Here I'm making this 903 enable field for search. In the add mark fields, I called it 903, but that doesn't mean it's actually using 903. Here's where I would actually use the 903. Then if I really want to be creative, I would play around with the normalization rule and make it display differently under different situations. We'll save that for another day. Maybe one day we'll do a session on Primo V normalization rules. That could be fun. Then, of course, save. And then that saves the field. Then that just means we have a field for searching. Then we need to play around to make it display. Here, this is the links detail section. That's the formal word in Primo. And that we can get in the view, in the links and something's tab. We're going to go in there right now. And then there's align details, and that's where we add them. So here we would go to discovery, to configure views, take whichever view we want to change. I'm going to do my default view. Then we have a tab here, the full record services. And here's that details line that I was talking about. And you can see we added already the 900, 901, 902. We could add here also the field that we just added a moment ago. I clicked add field on the top right. Here's my 903. I will say done. And hold on. Now that's tricky. That happens to everybody. Add field 903. You got to make this bigger to see everything. Now we click add. Now we say done. Okay. There it is. So that's how we get them added to the details. I'm going to remove that because I like to keep this clean for my next time I do this, or my next time I use this environment. So that's clean. And now we're going to go get rid of, we added it in the manage and display local fields. And here's my 903 new one. I'm going to get rid of that. Confirm. And I see someone sent something in the chat. Let's take a look. Can different institutions in a network zone use the same Primo local display field for different purposes? Yes, you can use them for different purposes. One of you can use it. Let me just put that out so everyone can see, making sure I'm not copying the person's name. So someone asks this, and I'll make that a little larger. So if for example, in my case, I have we use today Open University and University of Knowledge. So University of Knowledge could say, I want to use the 900 field for a course lecturer. And another institution could say, I want to use the 900 field for the date the cataloger updated it, whatever. So yes, every institution can use it differently. Now there's a whole nother concept of being able to share entities throughout the network zone. But if you're only calling it 900 or 901 and not calling it 901 course, then you can use it for whatever you want. Okay, I see another one came in, going to look at the chat. Using local fields for different purposes. Isn't it, someone asks, isn't it, let me put this out over here. So this is a follow-up question, I guess we could call it. Using local fields, isn't it fair to say that just because you can, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That's a very important point. Someone says, isn't it fair to say just because you can doesn't mean you should? Absolutely. At times of implementation and all that kinds of stuff, trainings, etc., consulting, people want to do things, and yes, it's possible, and we say, but think if you really want to. Yes, thank you for pointing that out. It's like not everything you think you should say, not everything outside of the library world. There's a saying like that. It's at least in another language. I guess in English it can be at least understood, if not known. Not everything you think you should say, not everything you can do in Alma you should do. Absolutely, I agree. Okay, let's now stop for a moment here, and I want to make a plug for October 30th. We have our final session of the Alma 2024 Roadmap webinar series coming up. I'm going to send this out in a chat to everybody, the link to the Alma 2024 Roadmap webinar series. So let me send that to everyone. And the last session is going to be on linked open data in Primo V. Using linked open data in Primo V, it's going to be a very exciting session. It's kind of a follow-up. I don't know how many of you attended this series here of the Alma 2024 Roadmap webinar series, but back in June, we had linked open data in Alma, and I had pointed out we will be showing in Q4 the linked open data in Primo V, and here we are in the fourth quarter. It's already fourth quarter, September. Actually, no, October, November, December is the fourth quarter. So we're almost in the fourth quarter, but the linked open data session is October 30th. That is the fourth quarter. So you can register from this page, and you can also already see a PowerPoint presentation about it, but we'll be doing a live session. The Alma Network Zone Consortia webinar series, that's what we finished today. We just had this session on how to use local extensions. All of the material for the Network Zone Consortia webinar series is on this page. I'm going to send this out to everybody as well in the chat, although I know most, if not all, people already have it because I know people registered from there. Not that we're spying, but we check about registrations. We like to make sure things are getting publicized, etc. So this page here, you can get access to the YouTube videos of every previous session, the material that's accompanying it, and by the end of today or tomorrow, we will have the link here to YouTube. Another point, this is our education and webinars page. You can get to this page. I'm not even going to send out a link because you can get to this so easily. We have every possible tag in there that every Google search will find it. I'm just going to say education and webinars and, of course, Ex Libris. I don't even have to spell it properly, and you get there right away. So here you can see all of the upcoming and all of the past sessions, and you can also view the recordings. For example, here, if I were to put in linked data, so I've got using linked open data in Primo V person entity. So here, you can come here and register as well. Here it is, upcoming, register now. So everything is here, past sessions, we've got the recordings here. Also, if you would say YouTube Ex Libris Limited, you can get to our YouTube channel. Again, you don't even have to spell it properly. And here you've got everything as well. For example, if I come to the playlists, one of the playlists will be, here's the Network Zone Consortia webinar series. So all of the previous sessions are here. And the session from today will also be added here. Okay, so we have time for one more question or comment, and then we're ready to finish. And I guess we're done. Okay, thanks a lot, everybody, and we hope to see you October 30th. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.